Hopefully you can hear me fine. I got my little earbud on, so it should be picking up my voice just fine. But hello, and I really appreciate your time and attention today. I don't necessarily have a central message, which, as many of you know, is not really something I don't typically have a central message, though sometimes. We'll call it 50-50, honestly. But lately it's just kind of been me going off the dome. Which, I mean, is how all of us want to exist. Like, we all wish we could just be who we are, and then leave it at that, and that would be rad. And I think that everyone has this inherent worth that has nothing to do with whether you're a good worker, and has everything to do with the fact that you do exist. I mean, like, everything that exists has some sort of reason to exist, otherwise it wouldn't exist. If we were some Rube Goldberg machine, then yes, we would all just be some sort of spontaneous side effect of the physical universe. And, well, I'll say, like, I just don't buy it anymore. Like, we've had such a long time of functioning with that perspective, and it's left a whole generation of people, well, multiple generations, very disinterested and pursuing their dreams and thinking very much inside a box. But the interesting thing is that box is often self-imposed, and it's just because someone told you at some point you should believe this thing rather than that. And I would really implore you to go out and try to find some other belief system that is very contrarian to the standard mindset. And it'll really depend on where you're watching this from. But at least in the U.S., like, we very much have this cynical scientific mind. At least some of us. And I say us, and I don't even fall into that crowd anymore. It's interesting because, you know, I do a lot of journaling, and I can even, like, I went back and I read one of my journals for the first time, and I realized how much I changed in the last year. And about all of that change was an inner change, and slowly my outside world has come to reflect what I wanted about a year ago. And yes, part of that is inner change and me saying, well, I am this other person, but I had plenty of challenge along the way, plenty of opportunities to feel disempowered, which is fair, which is so interesting because there's this guy. If you know who Bashar is, fantastic. You and I are probably on the same page. But if you don't know who he is, he's got a lot of different concepts that he discusses, and one of them is the power of paradox. And the idea is that anything that you want to apply to yourself that is like a negative view, the opposite is probably true. So when I'm having these periods of feeling very disempowered, it's not that I don't have any power to change my life, it's that I'm using my radical amount of power to make myself feel that I don't have any. And I think that the common belief now with this scientific, cynical mindset of the modern man, which I do think is really changing and actually quite rapidly, but I think that view gives you a disempowered view. You are just a side effect of everything that's come before you and not something that is empowered to change. And I just want to say, like, that mindset only serves the people who are already in the top percent, or however you want to phrase it or view it or whatever. So try to use this sort of paradox to be, and, like, even if you don't believe it at first, if you try to believe it, you'll start to realize how different you feel. So here I am in my post-work and my formal shoes, standing on top of snow, which is so not good, but I'm doing it because I am the type of man who shows up for my viewers. And I say viewers, it's really like, yes, you're a viewer, you're an audience member, you're a friend, you're a stranger, but what you really are is just one of my brothers and sisters in humanity, or whatever you want to apply, just a sibling in humanity. And I, as someone who has changed so much in the last year, and if I expand it to 2 years, it's like I'm a totally different person. Within the last year, I've become much happier, but 2 years ago, I was a totally different person. So all I want is for you to feel empowered, and if you're hearing this stuff and you're like, this guy has no idea what he's talking about, that's fine. That means that you have a different point of view, and that's just as valid a point of view as mine. And I want you to have that point of view. I want you to have what you believe serves you best. But if you assess your beliefs and you find that one of them is not working for you, but that you feel that you have to have that definition because society has told you that, then that is you using your power to feel disempowered, because you're giving your power over to society and saying society has such a great influence on me that I cannot choose who I wish to be. And that's just a falsehood. And you may not agree with that, and I'm okay with that, because I think all points of view are just as valid, and I'm not saying that there's an ultimate goal like that we all are going to end up at, ideally. But I just personally, I prefer the feeling of feeling like I can actually go and do things like stop at the park wearing my formal clothes and record a video instead of going home and doing it at my typical spot. Such a small thing, but if I didn't view it as this is my opportunity to become more of who I want to be, that moment where I had that decision where I could stop at the park or just go home, I stopped at the park and I meant it, because I wanted to make a video that resonated with me personally and would hopefully resonate with you. And that's me actively choosing to feel that I can have some sort of impact. And I know that's true now, because I've had plenty of examples. Like, so many of my friends, friends personally have told me that I've impacted them in great ways. But even random strangers who aren't really all that strange, because we're all part of existence itself. So we all kind of come from the same thing. Like, the stars are made of the same thing that the human body is made of if you break it down. And then everything breaks down to energy. And then it's just, you can always go one level deeper, or one level higher. Anyway, I'm getting kind of distracted. I love you. I really think that you can choose your beliefs. And if you don't think so, then you're giving power to outside yourself. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I am asking you if you think that serves you. Because if you can logically suss out what kind of beliefs you have within yourself, and you find that something does not work for you, it will disappear. It will leave you. But the reality is that you're kind of scared of whatever you're going to discover within yourself. Like, if you feel disempowered, your first big barrier might be the wrong word, first big challenge, or realization even, is that you have so much power, you're making yourself feel this way, and now you have the radical responsibility. If you were to believe that you have power, you have radical responsibility for your life in every aspect of how it looks. Even the things outside your control, it's up to you to respond, because that's your control, is how you respond. Even if at first it doesn't feel that way. So try to find one belief that you think you could change. If you can think that you can change one belief, then that will start the ball rolling, and I think that you will be a much happier person in as short as a time as you will allow for yourself. Because we all have different definitions of how long change takes and how radical change can be. And I'm okay, by all means, take it slow. Take it slow. Or take it fast. Whatever you want, man. It's your choice. Stop at the park. Or don't stop at the park and keep doing what you're doing. Either one's fine. Alright. I love you. I really appreciate you as you are. Not you as what you give to me, but you as a person who's just like me, who has concerns, maybe, challenges, absolutely, relationships, few or many. You have all of these things that make you so similar to me, and even though we've never talked, I know that you have your own version of those things going on in your life. And I really want you to feel empowered to make those relationships or that circumstance or your own happiness less conditional. But if you believe you have no power to do so, then you won't. So that's why I'm here. So I love you. I appreciate you as you are. And if you want to hear me talk about something, leave a comment, send me an email. Yeah, pretty much leave a comment. But yeah, I love you. Take care, okay?